Hello, you guys, it is Christmas, and wherever you are, I wish you have a peaceful and calm Christmas where you get some time to just really relax, especially away from jobs, people, sometimes family, but just time by yourself. And this also means that this is kind of the last video that I will have for this year because the next time it will be the new year. For this topic, we're talking about self-doubt. I don't know if this has ever happened to you. When you're talking to someone, you're either like, man, am I doing this right? Or am I actually being interesting as a person when I talk to someone? When you ask these questions, these are self-doubts that are actually preventing you from being yourself. So it's almost kind of like there's this anxiety that's trapping you behind you being able to say the things that you want to say. Here, if you look at it closely, there's actually two different types of self-doubt that's here, and you have to address them both if you want to improve socially. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and of course the bell. So the outline here today, I'm going to go over the two doubts, which is 1, the social skills doubt. 2 is the content doubt, which I'll explain both. And the third one, we're actually going to dedicate a section just on examples so you can understand what exactly are the differences and how does that relate to you in real life. First, let's talk about social skills doubt. When you have this kind of doubt, you're kind of asking yourself, I don't know what to say, or am I saying this right? These doubts happen when you don't understand the basic social rules. Which is kind of like, let's say you're playing basketball, but you don't actually understand the rules of the basketball. Every time you dribble or you shoot, you're asking yourself, am I actually violating the rules of the game? And when you have that in the back of your mind, you're not going to focus on the actual game. Socially, this looks like if you have something that you want to say, but you don't have that much experience to read the room and see what's going on, so you don't understand if this is the appropriate time, occasion, or context for you to actually say this. So you just ended up not saying anything at all. And you can feel that this doubt really pressures you to stay quiet, and sometimes all you do is just smile, nod, and try to agree with people so that you can stay connected to the group. But then you're not contributing anything to the group because you're playing defense. You're trying not to make a mistake, and that is not the same as trying to win. This kind of self-doubt can be simply removed by understanding basic social skills and etiquettes. And when you understand this, you can see what is socially acceptable and what isn't socially acceptable. So in that way, you don't have to constantly second guess yourself and think that, man, maybe this is wrong and I shouldn't be doing this. This is why if you see me in my videos, I stress again and again on the basics of fundamentals, especially in terms of basic social skills. Because if you focus on things like how to carry a conversation, how do you generate topics, or how do you talk to people and actually engage them in a way that creates that underlying relationship with them, these things, as long as you're doing them right, that means you understand the social rules and you can't be wrong when you're doing these things, and it can take off huge amount of anxiety and self-doubt from you. But the problem here is that this is very easy to mix social skills doubt along with content doubt. When you have content doubt, this is really when you're asking yourself, man, am I interesting as a person? Did I overdo this? Man, did I just say something weird to these people? Content doubt is when you really start to question the actual content of what you said. It's not about if this is actually appropriate or if something is actually right. It's more about, is the person actually interested in the things that I say? So this becomes something different. The difference between social skills doubt and content doubt is really in that social skills doubt really focuses on what is actually acceptable inside the society in terms of overall rules. But content doubt is when you're within that realm of acceptableness, but then you don't know if what you said was actually relevant to the other person. So let's use an example here. Let's say you have a fruit market, and in this fruit market you have apple farmers and you have orange farmers. However, you want to get entry into this fruit market, and the requirement is that you are a fruit, which means bananas, pineapples, apple, oranges, kiwis, anything. Pretty much as long as you are a fruit, you can be in this market. And that is what is acceptable inside this market. If you're a meat, you are cats, you are a laptop, then you cannot be in this market because you are not a fruit. So that is acceptable. However, once you're inside the market, if you want to find a farmer or a group, you have to be a relevant fruit. If you're an apple or an orange, you can easily find that farmer that wants to sell you. Okay, actually that sounds kind of weird, but you get what I mean. Apples and oranges, they can find like a owner or a place. But if you're a pineapple, inside this particular fruit market, you might not be able to find a relevant group. So you might have to go to a different fruit market. Now let's take this into a more social aspect where it's more relevant to us in terms of in real life and how we interact with people overall. And one of the things that I want to say first is that, of course, the real world is going to be much more complex. There's going to be a lot more rules that you have to understand before you can apply something. But for demonstration purposes, here I'm only going to use one rule in this context, so you can understand how it plays out inside the two different doubts and how does each one of them shape how you are able to connect with the community. The social rule that I'm going to use here is that not looking at someone when you're talking to them is disrespectful. But first, I want to say that understand that eye contact is extremely hard, especially if maybe you don't have that experience in practicing eye contact or your environment isn't entirely friendly. So I totally understand if you can't make that eye contact. And it doesn't mean that everyone who can't make eye contacts have bad intent. It's just that not everyone gets that practice. However, when you're inside the social realm, there are certain rules like this one, which kind of brings out the fact that maybe when you're not making eye contact, you aren't making that connection with the other person, and people interpret that as disrespectful. These rules usually aren't said out loud, and if you haven't gotten used to eye contact, honestly, it can be pretty scary, but it is learnable. That's why these are social skills. So don't hinge on it and be like, man, shoot, I can't change now. But we're gonna put that aside for now and focus on the example itself. And for the content section, we are going to use games and music. So first you have a guy named Tom. And Tom doesn't exactly make eye contact, and he likes to talk about games. So that means if he wants to actually become part of a community, first he needs to understand the social rule of eye contact and establish that habit of making eye contact. Then he can become part of a group, because inside the social context, there is the social group for games and music, and he can just get in there really quickly. And now here you have Susan. Susan doesn't make eye contact, and she likes to talk about fruits. And if you look at this, it might be a little harder for Susan to do things here because one, there isn't exactly a community for Susan because there's no fruits community. And she doesn't exactly make eye contact, which is the social rule that she needs to understand. So here, first, she needs to really understand how the social rule works and make sure that communication, that she is there and showing respect through understanding the social rule. And then either she can go and learn about games or music to become part of the group, or she can just start her own group for fruits. Now how about Dawn here? Dawn can make eye contact, but he only knows about pens. Yeah, like the ones you write with. If Dawn chooses to want to be part of this whole community, he can go into the social realm because he understands how the social rules work with eye contact. But if he wants to be part of the music or game group, he'll need to understand and about those two different topics and grow and connect with those two groups, or start his own group about pens. So now let's talk about Jennifer. Jennifer can make eye contact and talk about music. So here you can already see that she met both criteria, meaning that she can probably find a group pretty quickly. Here, in order to be part of a community, you can see that if you want to be part of, let's say, a pens community, you have to be understanding of that topic to be part of that group. But however, before even that, you have to understand the basic social rules before you can approach communities in general. So hopefully this kind of explains or clear up different things about how does community work and the self-doubt that revolves around if I'm actually saying the right things, doing the right things, and are these things actually getting me anywhere closer to a community. So these are the two different types of self-doubt for especially the social realm. One of the harder things to do is if you get them mixed up and you always feel like you're self-doubting yourself, when you actually gain confidence in one area, but the other self-doubt weighs you down and pulls you back. And that's not fun. So learn to separate them and work on them separately and clear them up and decrease your anxiety over them overall. And that's pretty much it. And the next time I'll see you guys is in the new year. And I really hope that the new year will be much different than this year. This year has just been, I don't know, weird. So yeah, let's hope things will change for the better. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, if you found this video helpful, you can like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.